Captain Hannah Park stood tall on the bridge of the Indomitable, her eyes fixed on the alien ship that grew larger on the view screen. Her hands were steady, but her heart beat fast. This was humanity's first meeting with the Neori. "How much longer?" she asked. Officer Day checked his screen. 10 minutes until docking, Captain." Hannah nodded. "All diplomats ready?" "Yes, Captain. The whole team is waiting in the meeting room." The United Earth Defense Force had sent their best ship and crew for this mission. After years of sending signals into space, an answer had finally come. The Neori had reached out, offering friendship and technology. They seemed peaceful, but Hannah had learned long ago to stay alert. "Remember," she told her crew, "we represent all of Earth today." When the ships connected, Hannah led her team to the meeting point. The airlock door slid open with a soft hiss. The smell hit her first, something like mint and metal. Then she saw them. The Neori were tall and graceful. Their skin was almost see-through, showing shadow shapes of organs beneath. They moved like water flowing. The leader stepped forward, raising four-fingered hands in greeting. "I am Zilit, voice of the Neori Council," the alien said. Its words came through the translator with a musical quality. "We welcome humans to the greater community of space." Hannah bowed slightly. "Captain Hannah Park of Earth, we are honored to meet you." As they walked toward the meeting room, Hannah noticed something moving behind the Neori. Dark shapes slipped along the walls, quick and quiet. At first, she thought they were shadows. Then one moved into the light. The creature had 6 legs and a long, flexible body. Its skin was black with blue markings. It moved with frightening speed but stayed close to one of the Neori. As Hannah watched, the creature moved to Zilit's side and rubbed against the alien's leg. Zilit reached down, and the creature licked its hand. "You notice our companions," Zilit said, seeing Hannah's stare. "Do not be concerned. They are perfectly safe." "What are they?" Hannah asked. "A species we have guided to their full potential," Zilit said with what seemed like pride. "We found them wild, violent. Now they serve a greater purpose." Something in Zilit's tone made Hannah uneasy. The way the creature moved, so powerful yet so obedient, didn't seem natural. The meeting went well on the surface. The Neori offered advanced technology for medicine, space travel, and clean energy. They asked only for access to Earth's rich resources and biological diversity for study. Earth's diplomats were excited. Throughout the talks, the creatures, the companions, stayed silent and watchful. Sometimes they would bring items to their Neori masters or clean up small messes. Always, they would lick the hands that touched them. Later, in her private room, Hannah recorded her report. "The Neori seem peaceful, and their offers generous," she said to the recorder. "But something feels wrong. These companions they keep, there's intelligence in their eyes, but they act like trained animals." When I asked about their home world, Zilit changed the subject. She paused, choosing her words carefully. "I recommend caution. We should accept their friendship but watch closely. There's more to the Neori than they're showing us." As she finished, her screen lit up with a message from Earth Command. "Alliance talks approved. Begin immediate cultural exchange." Hannah sighed and looked out her window at the stars. Humanity was stepping into a bigger universe, but she couldn't shake the feeling they were stepping into something dangerous. The image of those creatures, licking their master's hands, stayed in her mind. Something about their eyes seemed to say they had not always been so tame. Commander Jum Kim frowned as he read Captain Park's report for the 3rd time. He sat in his office at Earth Defense Headquarters, surrounded by screens showing Neori ships in orbit. 2 weeks had passed since first contact, and Earth's leaders were rushing toward an alliance. "They're moving too fast," he said to the woman sitting across from him. Dr. Su Jin Lee nodded. She was Earth's top expert on alien biology, small in size but sharp in mind. "Everyone is excited about their technology," she said. "The medical advances alone could save millions of lives." June stood and walked to the window. Below, crowds gathered to watch Naori ships land for the first public meeting. "What do you think of these companions Hannah mentioned?" he asked. Sujin's face turned serious. "That's why I came. The Naori won't let us study them up close. They say it would disturb their bond. I don't like secrets." June turned from the window. "I'm putting you on a special team. Find out what these companions really are." 3 days later, Hannah Park stood at attention as Silit addressed Earth's United Council. The Naori spoke of friendship and shared progress. Behind Silit, 2 companions waited silently, their dark bodies perfectly still except for occasional blinks of their large eyes. "Our scientists will share medical technology that will end most human disease," Silit announced. The council members applauded. After the meeting, Hannah followed Silit to the garden outside. One of the companions walked close behind them. "Your world is beautiful," Silit said. "So much life, so much potential." "Thank you," Hannah replied. "May I ask about your companion? I'm curious about their home world." Zilit's smooth face showed the smallest hint of tension. "They have no home but with us now. Long ago, they were wild creatures, dangerous to themselves and others. We helped them find peace in service." The companion moved closer to Silit, who stroked its head. The creature licked Silit's hand in response. "They seem very intelligent," Hannah said carefully. "Intelligence without guidance is often destructive," Silit answered. "Now shall we discuss the new embassy?" Dr. Sujin Lee worked late in her lab that night. On her table lay a small piece of dark skin, shed by one of the companions during the council meeting. Hannah had managed to collect it without being noticed. "Let's see what you're made of," Sujin whispered as she placed the sample under her scanner. Hours passed as she studied the results. When she finally looked up, her face was pale. "June, you need to see this," she said into her communicator. "Now." Commander Kim arrived 20 minutes later. Sujin pointed to her screen. "Look at this brain structure," she said. "These aren't simple animals. Their brains are as complex as ours, maybe more so." June leaned closer. "Then why do they act like pets?" Sujin's finger traced a strange pattern in the brain scan. "Because of this, it's an implant grown into the brain tissue. It blocks certain functions: independent thought, aggression, self-preservation. They've been changed," Jun said slowly. "Enslaved," Sujin corrected. "These companions were once free beings. The Naori didn't uplift them. They broke them." Jun's communicator beeped. A message appeared: "Alliance treaty signing scheduled for next week." Below it was a request for human DNA samples for compatibility studies. He looked at Sujin. "Find out everything you can about these implants and send a message to Captain Park. Tell her to look deeper into the Naori embassy." As June left the lab, he passed a view screen showing Silit presenting gifts to Earth's leaders, small, beautiful pins that they proudly attached to their clothes. The pins glinted in the light, tiny dots of alien technology now sitting against human skin. Hannah Park adjusted her new uniform. As Earth's official liaison to the Naori embassy, she now wore the blue and silver colors that marked the alliance. 1 month had passed since the treaty signing. Naori technology was already changing life on Earth. Hospitals used their medical devices. Their clean energy systems powered whole cities. But June's message kept playing in her mind: find what they're hiding. The Naori embassy was a tall, gleaming building in the center of New Seoul. Inside, humans and Naori worked together in the open areas. The companions moved silently among them, carrying messages and items. Hannah noticed one Naori who seemed different from the others. This Naori was smaller, with skin that had a slight blue tint. The name tag read Elis. "Hello," Hannah said, approaching. "I'm Captain Park." Elis looked up, seeming startled. "Yes, the human liaison. I know of you." Unlike other Naori, Elis had no companion following behind, and there was something in Elis's eyes, a sadness, perhaps. Is everything okay? Hannah asked. Alice glanced around before answering. Yes, of course. The alliance progresses well. Hannah noticed Alice's hands shaking slightly. Would you like to have lunch? I'd love to learn more about your culture. In the embassy cafeteria, they sat in a quiet corner. Alice spoke softly about Maori art and music. Hannah listened, waiting for the right moment. The companions are fascinating, she said finally. They seem so devoted to you. Alice's eyes darted to the nearest companion, then back to Hannah. They weren't always so devoted. What do you mean? Alice leaned closer. Some histories shouldn't be forgotten, even when the council says to forget. Before Alice could say more, another Maori approached. Alice straightened immediately. Liaison Park, your presence is requested in the main hall, the new Maori said. As Hannah left, she heard the Maori speaking sharply to Alice. That night, when the embassy was quiet, Hannah used her access card to enter areas marked authorized personnel only. Her heart beat fast as she moved through dark hallways. If caught, she could ruin the alliance, maybe even start a war. But she had to know the truth. The lowest level required special access. Hannah used a code she had seen Sillet enter earlier. The door slid open to reveal a laboratory filled with strange equipment. In the center was a large tank filled with clear liquid. Inside floated what looked like a companion, but different. Its limbs were not fully formed. They're making more, she whispered. Screens around the room showed data in Maori language. Hannah connected a small device Dr. Sujin had given her. It began to translate and copy the files. One set of files caught her eye. Creva War Records. The translation was rough, but clear enough. Final battle of Creva resistance ended today. Their last stronghold fell. The warrior species that once threatened to destroy us will now serve us. The neural modification is complete on the first 10,000 subjects. The rest will follow. In 3 generations, no Creva will remember they were once our equals. They will know only service. Beside these records were detailed diagrams of neural implants, not just for the companions, but new designs. Designs shaped for human brains. Another file showed a timeline. Earth optimization schedule. Hannah's blood ran cold as she read. Phase 1. Integration. Complete. Phase 2. Elite control. In progress. Phase 3. Mass conversion. Begins in 10 Earth months. A noise outside the door made Hannah jump. She quickly downloaded the files and hid behind a large machine. 2 Maori entered with a companion. They attached devices to the companion's head and activated a screen. Human neural patterns are complex but not impossible, one said. The political leaders have accepted the first stage implants without knowing. The military leaders will be next. And the resistant ones? Asked the other. Those who cannot be optimized will be removed. The humans will do it themselves, thinking the resistors are a threat. By the time they understand, it will be too late. Hannah held her breath until they left. Then she slipped out and made her way to the exit, the stolen data heavy in her pocket like a bomb waiting to explode. Commander Jum Kim stared at the files displayed on the secure screen. His face showed no emotion, but his hands were tight fists at his sides. Dr. Sujin Lee stood nearby, her eyes wide with worry. Captain Hannah Park sat across from them, exhausted after her night at the embassy. You're sure this translation is correct? Jun asked. Hannah nodded. The device Sujin gave me worked perfectly. The Maori plan to do to us what they did to the Creva. Those companions are not pets. They were once a free, intelligent species. Sujin pointed to one of the diagrams. These are the neural implants they're designing for humans. They target areas of the brain that control aggression, independence, and free will. They would make us obedient while keeping our skills intact. Perfect servants, Jun said quietly, and they've already started with our leaders. Those pins they gave out, Hannah said. They must be the first stage implants, preparing their brains for the full conversion. June brought up a new screen showing pictures of Earth's top officials, all wearing small silver Naori pins. In recent weeks, these leaders had pushed for deeper integration with Naori technology and culture. Anyone who raised concerns was quickly removed from their position. "We need to warn people," Hannah said. "Who would believe us?" Su Jin asked. "The Naori have given us medicine that cures cancer, energy that doesn't pollute. People love them." June stood and walked to a locked cabinet. He entered a code and removed a small metal box. "We need proof no one can deny," he said, "and we need to understand why they see us as threats." He opened the box, revealing a data device unlike any they had seen before. "This is from my time in special operations. It can break through any security system ever made on Earth. If we can access the Naori main database, we can find all their plans and broadcast them worldwide." "That would mean going back into the embassy," Hannah said. "They'll be watching for me now." "Not just the embassy," Jun said. "Their main ship, that's where all command decisions come from. We need someone on that ship." Later that day, Su Jin worked in her lab, analyzing the neural implant designs. A human-sized model of a brain floated as a hologram in front of her. "What makes humans so dangerous to them?" she muttered to herself. She pulled up the Kreva files Hannah had stolen. The original Kreva had been fierce warriors with strong pack loyalty. The Naori had turned that loyalty into servitude through the implants. They don't destroy the traits they fear, she realized. They redirect them. She compared human brain scans with Kreva and Naori scans. The Naori brain showed highly developed areas for planning and control, but smaller areas for emotion and aggression. Humans and Kreva were more balanced, with strong connections between emotion and reason. Her computer chimed. The analysis of the pins worn by Earth's leaders was complete. They released microscopic particles that gathered in the brain, preparing neural pathways for the full implants. Su Jin's phone rang. It was June. "Turn on your screen," he said. "The Naori just announced something big." She activated her wall screen to see Xillit addressing a worldwide audience. Behind the Naori stood rows of companions, perfectly still. "To honor our growing bond with humanity, we invite Earth's finest to join us in a sacred tradition," Xillit said. "The Great Hunt will showcase the perfect harmony between master and companion. Selected human representatives will witness our companions' abilities under our complete control." The camera zoomed in on the human officials who would attend. Among them was the name of Commander Jun Kim. "They've invited me onto their ship," Jun's voice said from the phone. "This is our chance." "Or their chance," Su Jin answered, looking at the brain scan showing the growing neural changes in humans wearing the pins. "Be careful. If they suspect you know anything, they won't let you leave." The Naori ship hung above Earth like a silver jewel. Inside, Commander Jun Kim followed Xillit through wide hallways filled with strange plants and flowing water. Other human guests walked nearby, all wearing their Naori pins. Jun had left his pin in his office. "The Great Hunt is our oldest tradition," Xillit explained. "It honors the natural order, the wise guiding the strong." Jun nodded, keeping his face calm while the data device hidden in his jacket silently connected to the Naori systems. He needed 30 minutes of access to break their security. They entered a large room with viewing windows looking down on an enclosed forest area. The space was huge, bigger than seemed possible inside the ship. "Our hunting grounds," Xillit said proudly. "We've filled it with Earth animals for today's event." Other Naori joined them, each followed by their companions. The dark, six-legged creatures seemed more alert than usual, their muscles tense under their skin. "Watch closely, Commander," Xillit said. Few outsiders witnessed the true abilities of our companions. A signal sounded. The companions suddenly moved with shocking speed, leaping from the platform down into the forest below. The viewers could see them through the glass as they raced through the trees. On screens around the room, cameras showed the companions hunting. They moved like water, silent and deadly. When they found deer, The companions took them down with perfect coordination. Not a single wasted motion. Not a single missed target. Impressive, Jum said, checking the timer on his hidden device. 20 more minutes needed. They were once wild hunters, Zillet said. We kept that skill, but removed their chaos. Watch this. Zillet pressed a button and spoke a command. Instantly, all the companions froze in place, some in mid-leap. Perfect control, Zillet said. Now, would you like to join the hunt, Commander Kim? This was not part of the plan. Jun hesitated. We've prepared a special area, Zillet continued. Some of your Earth military leaders are already there. Jun had no choice. He followed Zillet to an elevator that took them down to the forest level. There, 3 other human officers waited with weapons. These are training weapons, an Aori explained, handing Jun a gun. They mark but don't kill. The forest smelled real. Dirt, plants, and animal scents filled the air. Jun checked his hidden device. 15 more minutes. We will release 1 companion, Zillet announced. Your team will track and mark it. The companion will evade but not attack. The hunt began. The 4 humans moved through the trees, following tracks. Jun stayed alert, not just for the companion, but for any chance to complete his mission. 10 minutes left. They found nothing. The companion was too good at hiding. 5 minutes. A sound to their right made the other officers turn. Something dark moved through the trees, too fast to see clearly. 1 minute. Suddenly, the companion burst from the bushes. But instead of running away, it charged directly at Jun. Its eyes seemed different, wild, not empty like the others. The other officers fired and missed. The creature was too fast. 0 minutes. The device vibrated. Download complete. The companion leaped at Jun. He had 1 second to decide. His military training took over. He fired 3 times, hitting the creature in its chest. The companion fell at his feet, its body shaking before going still. Silence filled the forest. Then, to Jun's surprise, Zillet began to make a sound. It took him a moment to realize the Naori was laughing. Well done, Commander, Zillet said, approaching. Very few react so effectively under real threat. I thought it wasn't supposed to attack, Jun said, his heart racing. I lied, Zillet replied simply. We needed to see your true response. Later, in a private room, Zillet offered Jun a drink. You've impressed us today. You passed our test. Test? Jun asked. We divide species into 2 categories, Zillet explained. Those meant to serve, and those meant to lead. Today you proved humans belong in the second group, with some improvements, of course. Zillet held out a silver pin. Your world leaders have accepted our help. With small neural adjustments, humans will make perfect partners for the Naori. Jun took the pin, pretending to admire it. And those who refuse these adjustments. Zillet's smooth face showed no expression. Those who cannot adapt must be removed. For the good of both our species, Hana Park paced the small underground room. Maps and screens covered the walls. 6 people sat around a table, all wearing special headsets designed by Sujin to block the Naori's influence. They've moved up their timeline, Jun said, showing the data he had stolen. Mass conversion begins in 3 months, not 10. How many leaders have been affected? Asked General Da, one of the few military commanders who had refused the Naori pins. Sujin pulled up a list on the main screen. At least 60% of world governments, almost all major media, half of our military command. The room fell silent. Their resistance group was small, just 20 trusted people across different positions. We can't fight the whole world, Captain Han said, his voice low. And we can't let humanity become slaves or improved partners either, Hannah replied. Jun stood up and walked to a secure safe in the corner. He entered a long code, then placed his hand and eye for scanning. The heavy door swung open. There is another option, he said, removing an old file marked Vanguard Program. Top secret. General Dez's face paled. No, we locked that away for good reason. What is it? Hannah asked. June placed the file on the table. 20 years ago, before the world united, countries were building super soldiers. The Vanguard program was the most advanced. He opened the file, showing pictures of men and women with enhanced bodies and strange eyes. They used genetic engineering and neural amplifiers to create the perfect warriors. Stronger, faster, smarter than normal humans. They could heal quickly and adapt to any situation. What happened to them? Su Jin asked. General Dai answered, his voice heavy. They were too good, too dangerous. They could think faster than their handlers. Some began questioning orders. When governments tried to control them more, a few escaped. The program was shut down, Jun continued. The remaining 50 Vanguard soldiers were placed in deep sleep chambers in a hidden facility. Too valuable to destroy, too dangerous to use. Hannah looked at the faces in the photos. They looked human but somehow different, sharper, more intense. You want to wake them up. They could turn on us. The Naori fear human aggression and independence for a reason, Jun said. Their neural control works on the Kriva because they made them docile first. Our Vanguard soldiers were designed to resist all forms of mental control. They're monsters, General Daz said. I was there when they put down the Seoul uprising. 30 Vanguard soldiers against 2,000 rebels. It was over in 20 minutes. And now we need monsters, Jun replied. Her monsters licked their master's hands. Ours need to devour theirs. That night, a small aircraft flew silently over the mountains of old North Korea. Inside, Jun, Hana, and Su Jin checked their equipment. Below them, hidden in the mountains, was the Vanguard facility. Once we wake them. There's no going back, Hana said. There's already no going back, Jun replied. The Naori issued a global alert today. Anyone refusing neural scanning is now considered potentially dangerous. They're taking control faster than we expected. The aircraft landed on a hidden platform that opened from the mountainside. Armed guards met them, loyal soldiers who had seen the truth in Jun's data. Deep inside the mountain, they entered a large chamber. 50 glass containers lined the walls, each holding a sleeping figure. Who's in charge of them? Su Jin asked. Jun walked to the central container. Inside was a man with a scared face. The name on the container read, Colonel Taho Ryu, Vanguard Alpha. He is, Jun said. Taho led the Vanguard teams. He was the best and the most dangerous. If anyone can fight the Naori, it's him. And if he decides to fight us instead? Hannah asked. Before Jun could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. A guard ran into the room. Sir, Naori ships approaching. They found us. Jun looked at the sleeping soldiers, then at the screen showing 5 Naori vessels moving toward the mountain. No more time for debate, he said, and pressed the awakening sequence. The first glass container began to open. Colonel Taho Ryu's eyes snapped open. Bright, alert, and dangerous. Colonel Taho Ryu stepped out of his container, water dripping from his tall, muscular body. His eyes moved quickly around the room, taking in everything. 20 years had passed, but he looked ready to fight right now. Commander Kim, he said, his voice rough from long sleep. You finally woke us up. The world must be ending. It might be, Jun answered. We need the Vanguard. More containers opened. Men and women with enhanced bodies and sharp eyes emerged. They moved with perfect balance, their muscles ready despite years of sleep. The Vanguard was awake. Taiho looked at Hana and Su Jin. New faces. Military. Captain Hana Park. Space Fleet. Dr. Su Jin Lee. Xenobiology, Jun said. Xeno? Aliens? Taiho's eyes narrowed. You found some. Alarms continued to sound. On the screens, the Naori ships were getting closer. Brief me. Taiho ordered as his team began putting on combat gear stored near their containers. Hana explained quickly about the Naori, their companions, and the plan to control humanity. Taiho listened without speaking, his face showing no emotion. "Neural control," he finally said. "That's why you need us. Our brains were designed to resist outside influence." "Yes," Sujin confirmed. "The Vanguard neural structure should reject their implants." Taiho smiled for the first time. It was not a friendly smile. "They want to put leashes on humanity. They should have studied our history better." The facility shook as something hit the mountain above. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're here," Jun said. "We need to move." Taiho turned to his team. 49 enhanced soldiers stood ready, their bodies designed for war. "Suit up. Weapons check. We move in 5 minutes." As the Vanguard prepared, Taiho pulled Jun aside. "What aren't you telling me?" Jun hesitated. "The world united after you went to sleep. There's one government now, and most of its leaders have already accepted the first stage of Naori control. So we're fighting our own people too. Some of them. Not all." Taiho's eyes were cold. "And what happens if we win?" "The Vanguard goes back to sleep." "That's for later," Jun said. "Right now, we just need to survive." 3 hours later, Hana watched in amazement as Taiho's team fought through the Naori forces surrounding the mountain. The Vanguard moved like nothing she had ever seen. Faster than the companions, smarter in their tactics, absolutely fearless. They had escaped through underground tunnels, emerging 10 miles away. But the Naori had tracked them, sending companions to attack. These companions were different, larger, with metal armor added to their bodies. "Combat models," Sujin said. "They kept their best hidden." The fight was brutal but quick. 7 Vanguard soldiers took down 20 companions with minimal injuries. Their enhanced bodies healed even as they fought. Now they hid in an abandoned building, planning their next move. Taiho studied the Naori data on a screen. "Interesting," he said. "They think they understand human aggression, but they don't. They see it as a flaw to correct." "Isn't it?" Hana asked. Taiho looked up, his enhanced eyes glowing slightly in the dim room. "Aggression built civilization. It drives us to survive, to protect, to improve. Without it, we're just smart animals." He pointed to an image of a companion. "They broke the species by removing their will to fight back, made them into perfect tools. And now they want to do it to us." Sujin said. "They can try." Taiho smiled again, showing teeth that seemed too sharp. "But humans don't break easily. And the Vanguard doesn't break at all." A soldier entered the room. "Colonel, we've captured a Naori. Alive." Taiho stood. "Bring it here. Let's have a talk with our would-be master." 2 Vanguard soldiers brought in Silit, the Naori's hands bound. Despite the situation, the alien maintained its calm appearance. "Colonel Taiho Ryu," Silit said. "The file on you was quite impressive. Such a waste of potential." "Funny," Taiho replied. "I was thinking the same about you." He moved closer to Silit, moving faster than seemed possible. His hand grabbed the Naori's throat before anyone could blink. "Your monsters may lick their master's hands," he said quietly, "but ours have always devoured those who tried to chain them." Dr. Sujin Lee worked quickly in the makeshift lab. Around her, Vanguard soldiers guarded the entrances to the abandoned factory they now used as their base. 3 days had passed since they had captured Silit. The world outside was changing fast. "How much longer?" Hana asked, watching Sujin examine a small device under a microscope. "Almost done," Sujin replied. "The Naori technology is complex, but I understand it now." On a nearby table lay several neural implants removed from Silit's body. Sujin had studied them day and night. Now she was building something new, a device to block the Naori's control signals. In another room, Jun and Taiho watched global news reports. The Naori had announced that a dangerous terrorist group had attacked their embassy. Now, all humans were required to receive protective scanning to identify these violent elements. They're moving faster than expected, Jun said. Mass conversion has already started. Taiho studied a map showing Naori ships positioned around major cities. We need to strike now. The door opened, and 2 Vanguard soldiers brought in Silit. The Naori looked calm despite being a prisoner. Your soldiers are impressive, Xillit said to Taiho. They would have made excellent companions with the right adjustments. Taiho ignored the comment. Tell us about your control ships. Why would I help you? Xillit asked. Because you're a logical being, Taiho said. And logic says your only chance of survival is cooperation. Xillit was silent for a moment. Each major region has one control ship. They broadcast the signals that maintain our companions' obedience, and will soon maintain human compliance as well. Thank you, Taiho said, then nodded to his soldiers. Take it back. After Xillit was gone, Taiho turned to his team. We have 12 hours before the mass conversion is too far along to stop. We need to capture a control ship. That night, 5 small aircraft flew silently toward the Naori control ship hovering above New Seoul. Each carried 10 Vanguard soldiers. Hana, Jun, and Sujin were in the lead aircraft with Taiho. Remember, Sujin said, checking her equipment, once we activate the disruptor, the companions will be free from control. We don't know how they'll react. The Naori ships had strong defenses, but they weren't prepared for the Vanguard. The enhanced soldiers moved with impossible speed, disabling security systems before alarms could sound. They entered through maintenance hatches, moving like shadows through the ship. But the Naori were waiting in the central control room. 20 companions in full battle armor stood guard. These were different from any they had seen before, bigger, with extra limbs and metal parts added to their bodies. Elite guards, Taiho said quietly. This will be interesting. The battle that followed was unlike anything Hana had ever seen. The Vanguard fought with perfect coordination, each soldier seeming to know what the others would do without speaking. The companions were strong but predictable. They followed patterns, while the Vanguard constantly adapted. Still, the fight was hard. 3 Vanguard soldiers fell. The companions kept coming, following their programming exactly. That's their weakness. Taiho shouted as he took down 2 companions at once. They can't think for themselves. Finally, they broke through to the control center. Sujin rushed to the main console while the others held off the remaining companions. Hurry, Jun called as a new wave of companions entered the room. Sujin connected her device to the Naori system. Lights flashed across the screens as she uploaded her program. It's working. The neural control signal is being reversed. Throughout the ship, throughout the city below, companions suddenly stopped moving. Their bodies shook as the control implants failed. Some fell to the ground. Others stood perfectly still, eyes blinking rapidly. Then, slowly, one companion in the control room turned toward Silit, who had been brought along as a guide. Its eyes were different now. Clear, aware, angry. The companion spoke, its voice rough from lack of use. We remember. All across the ship, the companions began to move again. But now, they moved with purpose, with rage. They turned on their Naori masters. What have you done? Xillit asked, backing away from the approaching companion. We gave them back their minds, Sujin said. You took their freedom. We returned it. As the freed companions surrounded Silit, Taiho smiled grimly. Now you see the difference between your monsters and ours. Yours serve out of force. Ours fight out of choice. 1 week later, Hana Park stood on the observation deck of the captured Naori ship, now renamed Liberation. Below, Earth looked peaceful again. The battle had been short but intense. Once Sujin's device freed the companions, the Kreva, from control, the war changed completely. The Kreva remembered everything. 20 years of slavery, 20 years of being forced to help the Neori conquer other worlds. Their rage was terrible. At first, Hana had feared they would attack humans too. But the Kreva understood the difference. Humans had freed them. The vanguard had fought beside them. Taiho joined her at the window. His enhanced body showed few signs of the hard fighting. "The last Neori ship left orbit an hour ago," he said. "They're retreating across the whole sector." "Will they come back?" Hana asked. Taiho shook his head. "Not likely. The Kreva are helping us adapt Neori defense technology. Earth is now the most protected planet in this part of space." The door opened, and Jun entered with a tall Kreva. Without neural implants controlling them, the Kreva stood straight, their movements proud and purposeful. This one had taken the name Sarax. "The work to remove neural controls from affected humans is going well," Sarax said, his voice deep but clear. "Dr. Lee's method works on your people too." "And the Kreva ships?" Taiho asked. "Ready," Sarax replied. "Many of my people wish to find our home world. Others want to stay and help defend Earth." Hana looked at the former companion. It was hard to see him now as the same creature that had once silently followed the Neori, licking their hands for approval. The Kreva were warriors, like the vanguard in many ways. Fierce but honorable. "What about Xillit?" she asked. "Contained, along with the other Neori we captured," Jun said. "They still believe they were right to help us by controlling us." Later that day, the leaders of the resistance met with representatives of Earth's newly freed government. The neural technology had been removed from world leaders, who now understood how close they had come to losing everything. Su Jin presented her findings. The Neori believed that they were creating perfect order. Their mistake was thinking that control and cooperation are the same thing. General Da looked uncomfortable as he addressed Taiho. "The Vanguard program was shut down because we feared your power. Now we owe you our freedom. What happens to us now?" Taiho asked directly. The room fell silent. Everyone remembered why the Vanguard had been put to sleep. They were dangerous, unpredictable, too powerful to control. Finally, the world president spoke. "Colonel Ryu, your people have earned their freedom. The Vanguard will be offered full citizenship and the choice of any role they wish in our defense forces. No more containers, no more sleep." Taiho's face showed surprise, then satisfaction. "We accept." That evening, Hana found Xillit in the holding cell. The Neori sat perfectly still, watching her enter. "You came to gloat?" Xillit asked. "I came to understand," Hana replied. "Why did you do it? Why enslave the Kreva? Why try to control us?" Xillit looked away. "Order is the highest good. The Kreva were chaotic, violent. Humans are the same. With our guidance, both species could achieve perfection. But not freedom. Freedom leads to chaos, to war, to suffering." Hana shook her head. "It also leads to choice, to growth, to real cooperation." As she left, she passed a room where Vanguard soldiers and Kreva warriors were planning joint defense strategies. Former monsters and current monsters, working together by choice. Outside, Earth was healing. The neural technology had been removed from millions of people. Humans were helping the Kreva build ships to find their home world. And the Vanguard had found a place where their differences were valued, not feared. Hana thought about Xillit's words about perfection. The Neori had sought perfect obedience and created slaves. Humans had embraced imperfection and found strength in diversity. In the end, that was the difference. Her monsters had licked their masters' hands because they had no choice. Ours had fought beside us because they chose to. And that had made all the difference.